Hey, Brixel! New PvP balance changes incoming, Living World Season 1 continues, and how to use your original Guild Wars 2 account on Steam. Welcome to Last Week In Tyria.
Here we go!
This week, the clouds parted, the heavens opened up, and we were blessed by the words of their holiness, Cal CMC Cohen and Roy Marcs. They graced our screens on Friday evening to share the sacred word of a new Guild Wars 2 balance era. And yeah, they really dropped a metric ton of information. I'm going to be upfront with you though, some of the technical info went a bit... but there is still plenty for us to talk about. Before that though, as always, ding the thing if you want to stay up to date on all the Guild Wars 2 news. Big love to our patrons, and with that, let's get into it. First up, I've mentioned in the past that ANET seems to be stepping up their game in the communication department, and this trend really seems to be continuing. ANET have been giving us blog post after blog post. They've been incredibly open with explaining the design philosophies, and they've been very upfront with their planned balance changes. That transparency hit a new level this week when developers Cal CMC Cohen and Roy Marcs sat down for an incredibly in-depth hour-and-a-half stream. The pair explained the major changes coming to the October 4 balance patch, and then followed up by dropping a chunky blog post. As far as the patch itself is concerned, it focuses specifically on PvP and World vs. World. On the whole, the info that was dropped has been pretty well received. Most are singing CMC and Roy's praises, and some are calling this the most impactful update to the game's balance in years. I tend to agree, and considering another patch is due in November, it really seems like ANET are not slowing things down. Now, I know what you're thinking. Holy crap, a patch is dropping and everyone's happy about it? Well, for the most part, yeah. But sadly, it isn't blanket smiles across the board, because there have been some concerns, mostly in regards to the Scrapper gyro adjustments. Scrapper wells are now stationary ground target skills with a range of 900. Look, I don't play Scrapper myself, so I can't really offer any perspective, so I'll let this Redditor speak on my behalf. This is a horrible idea. It should be taken by the shed and shot. Do not do this. The joy of Scrapper was that you kept moving and using your gyros. This would lock you into sticking to the placed AoEs, rendering the gyro benefits utterly useless if you have to chase a target, or the target can just leave your AoE wherever you place it, rendering your output potential severely less than it was before the change. Again, I don't play Scrapper, but even to me, this change seems a little baffling, especially considering that gyros used to play like this only for player outcry to get them changed to how it currently is. So we're literally going backwards. But okay, let's get the full picture here. The post also says the goal of previewing these changes is to hear your feedback on the changes before they're released. We'll be following the conversation and making adjustments to our plans as needed. So bottom line, I genuinely don't see these changes making it into the live game. Not with the universal backlash it's been receiving. So y'all can breathe. No one has to be escorted behind the shed for a shootin'. Your kindly worded opinions will suffice. Now, as I said, there were a ton of changes outlined, but we're not going to go through all of them here. But with that being said, I'm personally looking forward to the sprucing up of the Warrior's defense trait, making shields a much more viable option. I'm also stoked with the rework to Soul Beast, with it now being able to swap pets during combat. Plus, as much as it pains me to admit it, I agree that Herald does have too much quickness in World vs. World. So, fine. ANET, adjust Herald. Take away my quickness. I'm brave. I'm strong. I can take it. Besides the changes to specific professions and elite specs, there are a few general changes worth mentioning. First up is the revisiting of elite specialization trade-offs. The post explains that many elite specializations have some mechanical weaknesses compared to the core profession, commonly referred to as the trade-off. ANET acknowledged that some of these trade-offs feel unnatural or simply aren't fun to play around with. So the post continues, for this update, we've started to look at these unnatural trade-offs and evaluate whether they're still necessary for the balance of the game. In many cases, we've simply removed the trade-off with the expectation that these specializations can still be balanced in other ways. So to me, that reads as, we'll figure it out as we go. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Frankly, I trust the balance team to do this right, assuming they continue allowing the community to be involved in the process. Next up, let's take a look at the 300-second cooldown trait. The post says we've revisited these traits with the goal of making them into healthier mechanics. In some cases, we've made the defense trigger of something more active, like using an elite skill, and in other cases, we've reworked the traits entirely. Lastly, in regards to Torment, we're increasing the base values and reducing the bonus against stationary enemies to make Torment damage a bit more consistent. I'll leave a link to the blog post down below. It makes for some exceptional toilet reading, so you'll find that down below the like button. You know, in case you want to check that out too while you're down there. Next up, Guild Wars 2's red-headed stepchild Living World Season 1 is continuing its glow-up. I've gotten knee-deep in Episode 4, and I can confirm that, in my opinion, it is the most fun Season 1 episode thus far. The highlight is for sure the epic climb up the Tower of Nightmares, featuring kick-ass fights, a fantastic sense of progression, and outstanding voice acting throughout. Tara Strong is back to absolutely kill it as Scarlet Briar, and the Moaning Myrtle vibes are thick, with Scarlet spending the majority of her time in the walls taunting you and cackling. It's kinda spooky. Now, to be fair, I did groan out loud when the notification to start collecting spores dropped. I mean, I still have PTSD from the soul-draining grinds in episode 1 and 2. But honestly, the spore collecting only took a couple minutes, and all in all, episode 4 feels like it has the best Living World Season 1 pacing so far. As far as the writing is concerned, the team did a fantastic job. The tonal shift at the end of the personal story is always something I've really loved, and I was absolutely floored by the line, "dropped like a Norn fart at a moot." It got me chuckling, so I made a throwaway tweet about it, only for some pretty wild shit to happen. Wouldn't you know it, Bobby Stein, Guild Wars 2's lead narrative director, left a thread under my tweet. He gave some insights, explained some of the backlash he got for the line, and of course, he touched on the aforementioned tonal shift in Season 1. It's a bit of a read. Poppy responded to damn near everyone that chimed in, so there's plenty of fascinating tidbits and anecdotes in the thread. So go check it out. A special thank you to Bobby for taking the time out to share all this with us. I'll leave a link to that in the doobly-doo. Hey, look at that. 2 quality bits of toilet reading in one episode. You're welcome. And while you're there, maybe drop me a follow. I tweet a lot, so plenty quality toilet reading. Here's a final thing for you guys this week. Now, a lot of us were...
Mann, Alter! Ich will die Tournament spielen! Los! Starte das verdammte Spiel!
Well, let's just say that a lot of us were perturbed by the announcement that we would not be able to link our old faithful Guild Wars 2 accounts to Steam. I mean, people wanting to swap makes sense. The default Guild Wars 2 launcher doesn't have the best download speeds, but all's not lost. Friends Detective Agency online correspondents, you know, the ones with the computer magic, they went and they figured out how to take your account and get it to work on Gaben's storefront. And I can confirm it's possible, with caveats. Bear in mind that you won't be able to purchase in-game items or gems via the Steam store. So yeah, there's that. But Brixel, I hear you ask, how does one go about doing this? Well, Kevin, it's rather simple. First and foremost, you're going to want to download the free-to-play version of Guild Wars 2 off Steam. Right-click on Guild Wars 2 in your library, hit Properties, under Launch Options, enter -provider space portal, close the window, and click play. Voila! You'll be presented with the original login launcher that we all know and love. I'd personally recommend everyone does this. Not only does it help us track player numbers, but the bump in player stats will also inherently draw in more noobs. So let's get Guild Wars 2 climbing up that most played ladder. But that's it for this week. What do you guys think of this or any of the topics we covered in this week's episode? If you guys leave a real good comment, I could be responding to you in a future episode of Last Week In Tyria. As always, a gargantuan thank you to my supporters and patrons, and an even gargantuaner thank you to our Guardian tier patrons, Anthony Hodgson, Liam Pullis, and Brain Not Bright. Thank you guys so much for your support. It really is appreciated. I also just hit affiliate on Twitch this week, so come and support me over there as well. I stream Guild Wars 2 as well as a few other games 3 times a week. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Brixel loves you very much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.